My name is Tiffany. 10 years ago, I was a hopeful tour guide who wanted to see the world. Everything changed when I met Jack. Jack was nice, did well in life, and made me feel really happy. We got married fast, and I believed I had everything. Then the job offer arrived that would change everything. Tiff, I got a job offer from a great law firm. Jack said one night at dinner, "That's wonderful, dear. Where is it?" "It's in a different city. We need to move." I felt really sad. I liked my job, but I liked Jack even more. What is going to happen with my job? Jack's face became serious. "Let's go, Tiff. This is a special chance that may not come again. You can look for jobs anywhere." I was unsure, but his excitement made me feel good. "You're correct. We will find a way to make it happen." We went to a large house in a different city. At first it was fun, but as we opened the boxes, I saw a different side of Jack that I had never seen before. "The house is a mess," he said one day, looking around our living room that still had boxes everywhere. "I'm doing it," I said, pointing to the boxes. "Do your work quicker. I can't keep living like this." I was surprised, but I let it go. He was feeling stressed because of the new job, I thought. Weeks went by, and I had a hard time finding a job. "I think I might look for a job as a tour guide here," I said one evening. Jack chuckled. "That's not true. Pay attention to the house. It's still not good enough." "But I want to have a job, Jack. I really miss it." He got up, looking much taller than me. "I'm the one doing the work, Tiffany. Your job is to make sure everything is just right for me. Do you understand?" I nodded, trying not to cry. This was not the man I married, but I was set on making it work. I had no idea that this was only the start of a long nightmare. As the days became weeks and the weeks became months, I felt stuck in a cycle of constant chores and being very careful. Jack's requests became harder to meet, and he got angrier more quickly. One day I said we should get a housekeeper to help with the work. Jack's face became red. "Are you serious? Are you trying to spend my money on something that you should handle yourself? This is your work, Tiffany. If you can't deal with it, maybe you're not meant to be my wife." His words hurt, but I kept my pride down. "You're correct. I apologize. I will work harder." I really put in more effort. I focused on being the best housewife, thinking it would help me win back the man I loved. But the more I did, the more Jack thought I should do. As his career grew, our relationship fell apart. I watched as he became a famous lawyer, while I slowly disappeared into the background, like a ghost in my own home. Over the years, I got really good at managing social media, taking care of Jack's accounts from behind the scenes. It was funny. I made it look like we were a happy, successful couple, but I was not being honest. One evening, while I was getting dinner ready, Jack came in really fast and slammed the door. "Tough day?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "Be quiet and make my food," he said sharply. I put the meal I had worked on for hours onto the plate. Jack took a bite and then spit it out. "This is really gross. Why can't you do things correctly?" Before I could say anything, he knocked the plate off the table. It broke on the floor, food flying all over the place. "Clean it up," he said, standing above me. I knelt down to pick up the broken pieces. Tears hurt my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. This was now our usual way of life. The next day I really wanted to improve, so I spent a lot of time making Jack's favorite dish. While I was setting the table, I suddenly remembered that I had forgotten the bread. Jack came in, taking off his tie. "Where is my food?" "Coming right up," I said, quickly getting the soup ready. He sat down, looked at the table, and got really mad. "Where is the bread? Are you really this bad at your job?" He quickly knocked the bowl off the table. Hot soup spilled on my leg, and I let out a scream of pain. "You're so dumb," Jack said quietly, walking away and leaving me with the mess and my sore skin. While I was cleaning and crying softly, a thought suddenly struck me. How did I let it become this messy? When did I turn into just a shell of a person? The next morning, I woke up feeling determined like I hadn't in a long time. I can't keep living like this. Jack, I said as he was getting ready to go to work, I can't keep doing this. I want to end my marriage. He turned slowly, a mean smile growing on his face. Is there a divorce? He laughed, and it made me feel uneasy. Pay attention, Tiffany. If you go away, I will hurt you. You will have nothing. No money, no respect, nothing at all. You might find yourself on the streets with others who feel lost. I couldn't breathe for a moment. I saw the homeless people in our city, their sad faces stuck in my mind. Is that really what will happen to me? Accept it, Jack went on. You need me to be complete. Keep that in mind. When he left and slammed the door, I sat down on the floor. He was correct. I didn't have any money, no job, nothing at all. I realized I couldn't continue living this way. That day was a big change. I may not be brave enough to leave right now, but I have begun to make plans. I started to record our talks without telling you, keeping the mean messages, and writing down everything that happened. If I wanted to get away, I had to have proof. While I kept recording Jack's abuse, his career grew even more successful. He won an important case and chose to celebrate at home with his coworkers and friends. You'll get everything ready, he said, and don't even think about getting takeout. I want everything to be made at home. I worked hard for many days. I cleaned all parts of our house, cooked a variety of dishes, and made sure everything was just right. The night of the party came, and I was tired but prepared. Jack got home early, holding a bottle of wine. Here, he said as he poured me a glass, you seem like you could use this. I was surprised by what he did, but I accepted it with thanks. The wine tasted strange, but I thought it was just because I was tired. Jack hardly drank from his glass. Please change, he said. Visitors will arrive shortly. I went upstairs and felt dizzy all of a sudden. When I got to our bedroom, the room was spinning around. I fell onto the bed, feeling very tired and losing awareness quickly. When I woke up, the sun was shining through the windows. I felt confused and sleepy as I walked down the stairs. Jack's mom, Margaret, was in the kitchen. Her face twisted in a way that showed she was really grossed out when she saw me. "Oh, look who finally showed up," she said with a smirk. "You should feel bad about what you did." "What? What's going on?" I asked, my head hurting. "What occurred? You got drunk and made my son look bad in front of his friends. That is what happened." Margaret's voice got louder with every word. "He called me to help keep things fun because his wife was passed out drunk upstairs." I felt sick. "No, that's not possible. I only had one glass of wine." "Oh, save it." Margaret cut me off. "I always knew you weren't good enough for my Jack. Now everyone knows what a mess you are." As Margaret continued her tirade, fragments of memory surfaced. The strange taste of the wine. Jack barely drinking his. The sudden onset of dizziness. "He drugged me," I whispered to myself, the realization hitting me like a truck. After Margaret left, I sat at the kitchen table, my mind racing. Jack was systematically destroying my reputation. If I tried to leave now, who would believe me? That day, I stepped up my efforts. I bought a new phone and hid it carefully. I started recording everything. Jack's drunken rants, his 3 o'clock a.m. cleaning demands, every insult and threat. One incident I recorded stood out painfully in my memory. It was my birthday, and I had hoped Jack might remember, might show a glimmer of the man I once loved. I prepared a special dinner, holding on to a foolish hope for a peaceful evening. Jack stumbled in late, reeking of alcohol. I hit record on my hidden phone as he entered the kitchen. "What's all this?" he slurred, looking at the carefully set table. "It's my birthday, Jack. I made dinner," I said softly. He laughed, a cruel, harsh sound. "Your birthday? Who cares? Look at you, you fat cow. You don't deserve a celebration." I felt each word like a physical blow, but kept the camera rolling as he continued his tirade. "And this," he gestured at the food, "this is slop. You call yourself a wife and can't even cook a decent meal." He swept the plates off the table, food splattering across the floor, the very food I had scrubbed meticulously earlier. I flinched but didn't move, letting the camera capture every moment of his drunken cruelty. Another night, the recording caught an even more bizarre incident. It was 3:00 a.m. when Jack shook me awake roughly. "Get up," he hissed, pulling me out of bed. "What's wrong?" I asked, disoriented and frightened. "I found dust. The house is filthy. Clean it, all of it, now." For hours I scrubbed every surface of our home. Jack followed behind, inspecting my work with a critical eye. All the while, my phone recorded from its hidden spot, capturing his relentless demands and my exhausted compliance. These recordings became my secret weapons, concrete evidence of the abuse I endured. Each file was carefully saved and backed up, a digital archive of my suffering and, ultimately, my path to freedom. Meanwhile, I heard the whispers when we were out, saw the looks of contempt from Jack's friends. But I kept smiling, playing the role of the perfect wife while secretly fighting for my freedom. Our wedding anniversary was approaching. Despite everything, a small part of me hoped things might improve. But I should have known better. The night of our anniversary, Jack came home in high spirits. "I booked us a table at the best restaurant in town," he announced. "Let's celebrate." I was wary but agreed. Before we left, Jack handed me a glass of lemonade. "I made it myself," he said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Alarm bells rang in my head. I pretended to drink, but when Jack stepped out to make a call, I quickly poured it into a nearby plant. As we drove to the restaurant, I felt myself getting drowsy. I fought to stay awake, but my eyes were so heavy. The next thing I knew, I was being roughly pulled from the car. Through half-closed eyes, I saw Jack sneering down at me. "This is where you belong," he spat, throwing my purse far into the darkness with the other worthless people. I heard the car door slam, tires screeching as Jack sped away. My heart raced as I took in my surroundings. Trash littered the streets, and shadowy figures lurked in the darkness. The sound of distant gunshots made me flinch. I was alone, dressed up and wearing jewelry in the most dangerous part of town. Jack's plan was clear. He hoped I'd fall victim to the criminals who called this area home. Panic threatened to overwhelm me, but I forced myself to think. I spotted a small convenience store, its flickering neon sign a beacon of hope in this desolate place. I ran towards it, my heels clacking on the cracked pavement. Bursting through the door, I startled the woman behind the counter. "Please," I gasped. "I need help. Can I use your phone?" The woman, her name tag reading Rosa, looked at me with a mix of concern and suspicion. "What happened to you, honey?" she asked. In a rush, I explained my situation. Rosa's eyes widened, and without a word, she locked the store's front door. "Can't have any troublemakers coming in," she explained, handing me her cell phone. "Make your call. Sweetie, you're safe here." With shaking hands, I dialed my friend Sarah's number, silently thanking my good memory. Sarah answered on the third ring. "Sarah, it's Tiffany." "I need help," I said, my voice breaking. "Tiff, what's wrong? Where are you?" I gave her the store's address, and she gasped. "That's the worst neighborhood in the city. What are you doing there?" "Jack, he left me here. Please, can you come get me?" "I'm on my way. Don't move." As I waited, Rosa kept me company. Her kindness was a stark contrast to the cruelty I'd become accustomed to. "Thank you," I said, as Sarah's car pulled up outside. "You may have saved my life tonight," I added. I slipped off the expensive ring Jack had given me years ago. "Here, please take this. It's not much, but—" Rosa shook her head. "Keep it. Honey, use it to start your new life." Tears in my eyes, I hugged her before rushing out to Sarah's car. As we drove away, Sarah turned to me. "Tiff, this has to stop. You need to fight back." "How?" I asked, feeling defeated. "He has all the power, all the connections." "Not all of them," Sarah said firmly. "I have a friend who works in television. It's time to tell your story." The next few days were a whirlwind. Sarah's friend, a producer named Lisa, arranged for me to appear on a popular talk show. The lights were blinding as I walked onto the set. The host, a kind-faced woman named Angela, greeted me warmly. "Tiffany, thank you for being here," she said. "Can you tell us your story?" Taking a deep breath, I began to speak. I told them everything: the years of emotional abuse, the manipulation, the incident in the bad neighborhood. As I spoke, I saw the shock and sympathy on the audience's faces. "Why are you coming forward now?" Angela asked. "Because I can't be silent anymore," I replied, my voice stronger than I'd ever heard it. "There are so many women out there suffering in silence, thinking they're alone. I want them to know they're not." As the show ended, my phone exploded with notifications. My story had struck a chord, and people were rallying behind me. But amidst the supportive messages, one text made my blood run cold. It was from Jack. "You'll regret this, you lying scum. I'll destroy you." I showed the message to Sarah, my hands shaking. "Don't worry," she said, a determined glint in her eye. "He just made his biggest mistake. We've got him now." As we left the studio, I realized this was just the beginning. The real battle was about to start, and for the first time in years, I felt ready to fight. The days following my TV appearance were a blur of activity. My phone rang constantly with calls from journalists, lawyers, and women's rights advocates. Jack's threats continued, but each one only strengthened my resolve. One morning, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Is this Tiffany?" A woman's voice asked when I answered. "Yes, who's this?" "My name is Amanda Reeves. I'm a lawyer and I'd like to help you with your case." I hesitated. "I appreciate the offer, but I can't afford a lawyer." "You misunderstand," Amanda said. "My firm wants to take your case pro bono. We've been looking for a way to take down Jack Peterson for years. Your story could be the key." It turned out that Jack had made many enemies over the years. Amanda's firm represented several clients who had lost cases to him, some under suspicious circumstances. They saw my case as an opportunity to not only help me, but to expose Jack's unethical practices. I met with Amanda and her team the next day. As I shared my evidence, the recordings, the text messages, everything, their eyes widened. "This is gold," Amanda said, reviewing the files. "With this, we can not only win your divorce case, but potentially get Jack disbarred." The divorce proceedings began, and Jack came out swinging. He painted a picture of me as an alcoholic and unfaithful wife who was trying to ruin his reputation out of spite. "Your Honor," Jack's lawyer argued, "Mrs. Peterson has a history of erratic behavior and substance abuse. These allegations are nothing more than the desperate actions of a woman trying to extort money from her hard-working husband." I watched as Jack's mother, Margaret, took the stand, tearfully recounting instances of my supposed drunken behavior, including the night of Jack's work party. "She was a disgrace," Margaret sobbed. "My poor son has suffered so much because of her." I felt sick listening to their lies, but Amanda squeezed my hand reassuringly. "Don't worry," she whispered. We're just getting started." When it was our turn to present evidence, Amanda was ruthless. She played the recordings of Jack's abuse, showed the threatening text messages, and presented a timeline of his escalating behavior. "And now," Amanda said, "I'd like to call Sarah Thompson to the stand." Sarah recounted the night she picked me up from the dangerous neighborhood. Her testimony corroborated my story. "Objection," Jack's lawyer shouted. "This is hearsay." "Overruled," the judge said. "Continue, Miss Thompson." Next, Amanda called Rosa, the convenience store clerk, to testify. Rosa described my state when I entered her store that night and how she had to lock the door for my safety. Jack's face grew redder with each testimony. I could see him seething, his carefully constructed facade crumbling. The final blow came when Amanda presented a toxicology report. "Your Honor," Amanda said, "we had Mrs. Peterson's hair tested for long-term drug exposure. The results showed traces of sedatives consistent with her account of being drugged by Mr. Peterson." The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Jack leaped to his feet, shouting, "She's lying. You can't believe this." "Mr. Peterson, control yourself or I'll hold you in contempt," the judge warned. As the evidence mounted, I saw the change in people's faces. The doubt was replaced by shock and sympathy. Even some of Jack's friends in the gallery looked disgusted. The judge called a recess to review all the evidence. As we filed out of the courtroom, I caught Jack's eye. For the first time, I saw fear there. The courtroom was packed as we reconvened for the judge's decision. The tension was palpable, and I could feel Jack's glare burning into the back of my head. Judge Harris cleared his throat. "After careful consideration of all evidence presented, this court finds in favor of Mrs. Tiffany Peterson." A collective gasp filled the room. I sat there stunned as the judge continued. "Mr. Jack Peterson is hereby ordered to pay alimony, surrender 50% of all joint property, and provide financial compensation for emotional damages. Furthermore, Mr. Peterson will cover all legal costs associated with this case." Jack exploded. "This is outrageous. I'll appeal. You can't do this to me." "Mr. Peterson," the judge's voice boomed, "I suggest you control yourself. Given the evidence presented, you should consider yourself lucky that criminal charges haven't been filed." As Jack was forcibly calmed by his lawyer, the judge turned to me. "Mrs. Peterson, this court is imposing a restraining order against Mr. Peterson. He is not to approach you or contact you through any means. Do you understand?" I nodded, tears of relief streaming down my face. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. I moved out of the house I had once considered a prison into a small but cozy apartment. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. But Jack wasn't done. Despite the restraining order, he found ways to make his presence felt. Mutual acquaintances would relay his threats, and I'd occasionally spot his car driving by my new place. "We need to do something," Sarah said one evening as we were having coffee. "He's not going to stop." I nodded, an idea forming. "You're right, and I think I know how to end this once and for all." I still had access to Jack's social media accounts. He'd been too arrogant to change the passwords, probably assuming I wouldn't dare touch them. It was time to use that against him. Over the next few days, I meticulously documented our entire divorce process on his accounts. I shared court transcripts, audio clips, and my own story. The response was overwhelming. Jack's carefully crafted public image crumbled overnight. His firm, unwilling to be associated with the scandal, asked for his resignation. Clients dropped him in droves. When Jack realized what was happening, he went ballistic. He showed up at my apartment, pounding on the door. "You scum!" he screamed. "I'll kill you for this." I called the police and they arrived quickly. Jack was arrested for violating the restraining order. his threats caught on my phone's voice recorder. As they led him away, I saw the man I had once loved, now a shell of himself, broken by his own cruelty and arrogance. In the following months, I heard through the grapevine that Jack had moved to another state, trying to rebuild his career, but his reputation followed him, and he struggled to find work. As for me, I was rebuilding too, but in a much different way. The publicity from the case led to an opportunity I never expected. A local charity that helped women escape abusive relationships reached out to me. "We'd like you to come work with us," the director said. "Your experience could help so many women." I accepted without hesitation. For the first time in years, I felt like I had a purpose. I was using my pain to help others, and in doing so, I was healing myself. 1 year after the trial, I stood in front of a room full of women, all survivors like me. As I shared my story, I saw hope rekindling in their eyes. "Remember," I told them, "you are stronger than you know. Your story matters, and you are not alone." As I looked out at their faces, I realized that this moment, this purpose, was what I had been fighting for all along, not just my freedom, but the chance to help others find theirs. As months passed, my work at the charity became more than just a job. It became my calling. I found myself connecting with women from all walks of life, each with their own harrowing stories of abuse and survival. One day, a young woman named Emily arrived at our center. Her story was very similar: a husband who controlled her, being cut off from friends and family, and a strong fear of leaving. In the next few weeks, I worked with Emily to help her make a safety plan and boost her confidence. When she finally left her husband, the relief on her face was something I recognized well. "Thank you," she said softly, giving me a big hug. "You helped me a lot." Her words really affected me. While I was helping her, I found out that I was also getting better myself. As our center became more well-known, we began getting invites to talk at conferences and events. At first, the idea scared me a lot. I was never good at public speaking, and just thinking about telling my story to big groups made my hands sweaty. But Sarah, always there for me, cheered me on. "Tiff, your story can help a lot of people. You need to do this." I spoke for the first time at a nearby university. As I stood at the podium and looked at all the faces, I felt a strong feeling inside me that I didn't know I had. "I am Tiffany," I said, "and this is my story of how I survived." While I talked, I noticed how my words were affecting others. Students leaned forward in their seats. Some wiped away tears, while others nodded in understanding or clenched their fists in anger at what I had gone through. After the talk, many people lined up to talk to me. Lots of people talked about their own stories or those of their family and friends. Some people just wanted to help. That night, as I lay in bed thinking about the day, I felt a strong sense of purpose. My past, though it hurt, has turned into a way to make things better. I kept doing speaking events, traveling all over the country. I talked at colleges, women's shelters, and a TEDx event. Every time I got strength from the audience, knowing that my words could be the help someone needed. I began writing a book about my experiences during this time. It was a tough process, making me go through some of my hardest times again, but it was also helpful, letting me deal with my trauma in a different way. The day my book came out felt really strange and amazing. Seeing my name on the cover, my story out there for everyone to read, made me feel both scared and proud. I was surprised that the book connected with people. It went up the bestseller lists, and I quickly started doing interviews on national TV. In one interview, the host asked me a question that made me stop and think. "Tiffany, after all you've experienced, do you regret anything?" I took a moment to think before I answered. "I feel sorry for the years I wasted because of fear and abuse, but I am thankful for my journey. Every step and every struggle brought me to this point, where I can help others discover their strength. No, I wouldn't change anything." While I kept working, I saw that my story was not finished yet. Every day had new challenges, new chances to grow and to help people. The frightened, quiet woman I used to be has turned into a voice for those who cannot speak, a light of hope for those still stuck in the darkness I had left behind.